Hey everybody, welcome to Spiritual Cafe Live, where we walk together and support each other on the path to becoming more spiritually aware, enlightened, and inspired. And I'm so excited for my guest tonight. I just want to, I probably should introduce myself because there's people who probably don't know who I am. They're like, who is this woman? We may have seen her before, but we don't know who she is exactly. And I'll explain why I might look familiar. So my name is Wooster. I'm an intuitive medium, and I'm also John Holland's assistant. So that might draw some, dots here, or connect some dots for people. All right. So you may have seen me at events. You may have seen my name in an email if you contacted John's office. So I am so blessed to have two of the best jobs in the world. I work for this man, John Holland, and I also am a professional intuitive medium. So,
well, I'm glad you said the intuitive medium part before being my assistant, because that's the important part too. As much as, being my assistant, I love that, but you are an intuitive medium first and foremost.
Yes, exactly. And what happened was how I got to know John was 15 years ago when I was really starting my journey in earnest to become what I'm doing today. I happened to come upon John Holland on Hay House Radio when he was first starting out there. And then I met him a year later, took a class with him, and he invited me to come and help out in an event. And here I go, like in the hearing, I'm 15 years later, and this is where I land. So you never know where you're going to end up. So I'm also very blessed to consider him one of my best friends. So,
thank you.
Thank you, John, for agreeing to come on and talk to everybody tonight.
You're welcome.
Yeah. So,
well, I saw that you have a spiritual cafe. You do one a month, every other. When I saw you have astrologers and doctors and therapists and people that have passed over to the other side and near-death experience, and you've done so many. I'm like, what about me? What am I going to do on this
We're
show?
sitting in his kitchen. He goes, when am I going to be on Spiritual Cafe Live? And I said, of course. Come on. I knew he was really busy, so I didn't ask him then. Yeah. So we wanted to talk about, because I know we're just going to be really open and honest, I think, during our talk tonight. And, we're both sensitive people. John and I, of course, because of what we do for work, we're very sensitive people and in typical times. But in these times, we're so much more sensitive. So I know we're not alone. I know there's other people dealing with similar things. And so we wanted to come on and talk about how to address that. If you're super sensitive, if you find yourself being extra sensitive during this time, how can you work with that? How can you make it work to your advantage, and also to be more comfortable with it as well?
Yeah. Yeah, because it does. We are, we're all sensitive beings. And I got to the point, Laura, when I was a kid, I was very sensitive. I was a colic baby. I was always, I raised in an alcoholic home. Some people may know that, some don't. And, so I was very sensitive of what was going to happen. And worry as a child turns into anxiety as an adult. So yeah. I love that when, not that I love that, but I love, the saying, sensitivity. Okay. When it comes to, growing up in an alcoholic home, when you're constantly worried as a child, what's going to happen, it turns into anxiety as an adult. And so I was very sensitive. And, for the people who are watching, or for yourself, how many times have somebody said to you, you're too sensitive, you're too sensitive? Since when is that a fault? When did that become something that's not right? Okay, so your sensitivity it can be your superpower too. It doesn't have to be. I got tired of apologizing for it.
Exactly.
And, there's nothing wrong with being sensitive. It's how you rein in your emotions, and especially with everything that's going on now. So, everything is heightened right now. So it's okay. It's what you do with that sensitivity though, everyone. Yeah, Laura?
Exactly. Yeah. And that's the one thing too, is I always want to tell people when they say, oh my gosh, I just can't go anywhere where there's too many people, and they almost take on this victim mode. Right. And I say, stop right there. Right. And don't approach it in that way. You may be more sensitive, and you maybe have to be hyper aware to what you're walking into. Like, I know I used to, well, I'm going to speak for myself here. I used to go into grocery stores and be overwhelmed by the energy in grocery stores. And I know there's a lot of people who feel the same way. And I used to say, I can't go in there. It just overwhelms me. I stopped saying that. And I started going in, holding my energy and holding my space. And it was a practice. It took me some time to do that, but I didn't allow myself to get overpowered by the energy in that space.
Right.
So don't take on the victim mode.
Yeah, and be mindful. Mindful. And I know when my emotions start running, luckily, cognitive behavior, I know when I'm on an anxiety if I'm on that chain, but I have now many years later, I'm able to rein that back. But, being sensitive too, it's, you can use it to your advantage, and people are like,
Exactly.
how can you do that? How can you use that? Well, most people that are sensitive, most likely, I bet you're creative. And I bet if you're sensitive, you're one of the people when when everything started happening right now with COVID, I bet you might've been one of those people that felt more. You were the one that made sure that the friends were okay. You were calling parents, you were, your sensitivity was kicking in. So it's not a bad thing. It's when you when your mind is racing with it, you have to rein in your emotions. You have to rein in your emotions. And, there's different techniques to do that also, Laura.
Exactly. And we, we all might be a bit more emotional right now too, because our change in patterns, our life patterns, and our daily schedules and things. So go easy on yourself too if you're feeling extra sensitive, and don't beat yourself up for that. I know that I had moments of that over the past few months. I'm like, why am I feeling so like, just so down? I've got a roof over my head, I got food on the table, and there's people who don't right now. And so I get all in my head. So allow yourself to feel what you need to feel. So that's part of acknowledging your sensitivity, and actually part of empowering yourself with it as well by acknowledging it for what you're feeling.
Well, going back to when this all started back in March, a lot of people, you got a lot of questions on there, Laura, too.
Okay. I'll look while you talk.
That's okay. So when this all started, a lot of people were reaching out to me to get online and, give them some inspiration. And I said this in some Facebook Lives that I did. I wasn't ready to do that. I was freaked out at the same way. And even though I practiced, spiritual work too, all that went out the window. It really, really did.
Yeah.
I went into fear mentality. And, I realized, so I was thinking this, my work is ending. Are we going to get it? The virus, how are we, my work is done. How am I going to help people? I'm going to lose my house. And then it took a while, and I'm like, where is that coming from? Right. If you have a fear, okay, face it, guys, and say, where is that coming from? I know exactly where it's coming from. It's from my childhood. We were raised in poverty. We barely paid our bills. We were on welfare. There was always never enough money. And even though I'm okay, I have a house, I'm not loaded, but I'm okay. And, I got a savings, I am okay. So I face it, own where it's, try to acknowledge it, thank that fear, but it brought me back. And I said, okay, so that's where, once I faced it, it's fine. And then I had to set up boundaries too, Laura. I mean,
boundaries, exactly.
Exactly. When this all started happening, I immediately was watching the news constantly. Well, what does that do? It just gets you going. Right. And people they say the news people are sensationalize it. No, they're reporting the news, but you are in control of, be careful of how much you watch, and watch a trusted source that you feel, and don't watch it all the time. I watch it once a day just to see New Hampshire's doing, the rest of the world is doing. That's enough. I cannot do that anymore because it's going to make me even more emotional. So when I say have boundaries, I have boundaries, not just with relationship. We'll talk about that in a second too. It's boundaries of, what I'm willing to let into my life. And when this all started happening, when I was, it was about 3 weeks, guys, that I went through this because we didn't know anything, right? It was just like shut down. And so I heard a therapist say to a newscaster, the newscaster asked a therapist that they had on TV and said, what can you say right now to people who are fearful or anxious and they don't know what to do? And the therapist said, well, first of all, honor that this is the first time this has happened in our lifetime, Laura, at least mine. Okay.
Exactly.
And know, she said, we're in unprecedented times. If I hear that one more time, and I know that. And she said, know at this time what you can control and know what you can't control. So I am in control of what I watch on TV, who I let around me, who I talk to. I'm in control of how much desk time I do, how much I take my dog out, how much exercise. So you are in control, everyone. And you have to honor what you are in control of and what you're not in control of. So when I heard that, I'm like, oh my God, that makes sense to me. Yeah,
it does. Exactly. And I'll be honest too, there was times when I had days where, people were PMing me on Facebook and texting me and emailing me and asking me all these things. And I just I was not in the space to respond. I just couldn't do it. And so I was beating myself up for not responding. I said, they must think I'm horrible by not responding, but I just wasn't in the space. And so I realized that was a boundary I needed to set.
Yeah.
And yeah,
Well,
so
know what your trigger, I mean, and know what your triggers are. Know what your triggers are. Let me just shut this mail off so you're not hearing ping, ping, ping. Know what your triggers are, all right? Or who triggers you. Just the other day, other day, it wasn't a great day. You know what I mean? I was kind of sad because I started watching the news and I see the numbers going up. So it overwhelms me and I'm sad because it's not only am I sensitive, I feel it, okay? But all I know is I can take care of myself, how I'm treating myself, listen to science and the health professionals. I got science people and medical people all around me, but I was having a day, okay? We all get one. Honor that everyone, we're all going to go through, we have been going through anxiety. We're all going through that. So there's nothing wrong with it. It's what you do about the situation. So I was talking to a friend and I was telling her about what I was going through, basically just expressing myself. And right away, good person, don't get me wrong, good friend, but immediately they came back, well, everybody's going through that. I just needed to vent.
right.
I just needed to be with someone to let me talk. Let me tell you what I'm going through. I didn't want an immediate answer. And so right there, I have to be careful when I'm talking to this person that we all need to express, guys. And for someone who was out there, if you have a friend that's calling you, listen. Sometimes they just need an ear, okay?
Exactly.
And then it's okay to say, right?
Yeah, so if someone calls, and to think about on the other side too, if someone calls you and they just letting it all out, and you could actually stop them for a moment, ask them, do you want advice or do you just want me to listen? There's two different things here. And
Right.
so, and it's kind of helpful to say that because it takes you off the hook for like, oh God, I gotta help them.
Right. And they may not know yet, but let them talk, everyone. All I needed to do, I was just wanted to express myself. So, know what your triggers are, know the people that do trigger you, know that, be selective of who you're on. And it doesn't mean you're a jerk. Guys, if you're a sensitive being, which we all are, some are more
Right.
sensitive, know who sets you off, who you're calm with. Is somebody talking at you or are they talking with you? Do you understand?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And have some boundaries of, like I said, the news, the people that are around you, what you watch, basically the relationships that you're into, though, okay? And I'm not saying don't help people, everyone. I'm just saying know the people, all right, that are around you. And who, in the beginning, Laura, everybody was calling me during the day. I even felt guilty that I was still working. I really, really was. I'm like, everything that's happened, a lot of people, many, many people on the planet, we are still working, all right, because we have to, and we have to go about that. And being a sensitive creature that most of you are, know that you're a good person, know that you can feel things, all right, but rein back. Like with me, I have to rein back my emotions. And well, how do you do that? Just by noticing them, saying, okay, breathe. And I know this is not all about me, Laura, this interview, but back
It
in
works for you.
March, well, kind of is. At the end of March, beginning of April, everyone too. And yeah, we got good people on here too.
Yes, we do.
At the beginning, now listen to this, everyone. At the beginning of when this started in March, all right. So I don't tell too many people this, but my dog, my beloved pal, all right here, he's losing his vision. So he's on 4 drops a day, okay, and he can still see, but it's like going through it looks like a cloudy glass or a foggy glass, okay? So, and then just in April, he had his stomach was bothering him. So his gut was wrong, something was wrong with that. And he was on medication for that. He had to go in for an ultrasound. That was okay. And on top of that, he got an ulcer on his eye. All right, so I had to take him there. And then the following week, he got another ulcers on his eye. So I'm dealing with drops in the eye, stuff for my dog, dealing with that, trying to figure out how I'm going to move all these functions. So I was just like this.
It was overwhelmed.
Okay. And I don't want to have to go on a Valium. Okay. All right. So I had to just take it a step at a time, one step at a time. And that's all you can do right now. And one step at a time. And down on my kitchen table, Laura, I am in control of what I do with my day. I have notes of what I want to accomplish for the day and for the week. And then I just cross them off. Because if not, many of you who are out there too, are you working all day at home? And some of you are saying, what did I do? But you worked, right?
Yeah.
You've been at your desk for 8 hours, and you're like, okay, what did I do? Your memory is going a little too. So it's okay. It's what you do about it. It's okay to reach out. to talk to
People are
people.
feeling more scattered right now too. Their attention,
Right.
a lot of people say, I feel like I've got ADD. I've never had that before.
Right.
So it's, I think it's part of, us processing all of this. And so it's not unusual.
Yep.
So,
And be mindful, mindful meditation. And for
yeah.
those who are watching or will watch too in the rebroadcast, it doesn't mean chanting or lighting an incense. Okay. Some of you can do that. I understand that. But mindful meditation is just like if you're drinking a cup of tea, drink your cup of tea. If you're eating, just eat. If you're walking your dog, just walk your dog, meaning you are mindful. It will bring you into the present. And Sonia Choquette, I saw her teach this once online. If you're having anxiety or if your mind is racing, and when that happens, pull yourself back by saying, it's this simple. There's a lamp, there's a microphone, there's the couch. You're bringing yourself back into that room, back
You're
into
grounding yourself.
It stops you, right? Something as simple as that. Try it, guys. Okay, there's the light switch. Yep, I see that. There's the toothbrush. Whatever. It's bringing yourself back, to the present, because that you have most power. You don't have. Yeah, the past has happened, right? And right now, with everything's going on, is we don't know what's happening in the future, and that's what I think is freaking people out. And if you're sensitive, right? And
yeah, yeah. Like someone says, on some days I'm in the twilight zone. Someone mentioned it. Like, that's true. Yeah, it feels like that some days.
Yeah, and for your sensitivity, well, the sensitive, if you're extra sensitive, know that you can use that. Okay, how do I feel? Instead of letting your emotions run off with you, use that sensitivity. Use it to reach out to people. Use that sensitivity to, take a breath and say, okay, how do I feel my week is going to go next? Because your sensitivity, your psychic ability, your intuition, it will give you answers. And what's happening is we come from source, we come from God, we come from the divine, all right? But right now we're thrown into the physical. Mostly you're a physical being and a spiritual being. We are thrown into the physical. We forget we're spiritual beings, guys, all right? Your meditation practice will keep you connected to God, the source, your higher self, your loved ones on the other side. And when that's taken away from you, when you forget to do that, you end up, remember this, everyone, when you're not connected, that mind is racing. You're going to fill it with worry. You're going to fill it with drinking or anxiety, over worrying about somebody, overeating. You're trying to fill a hole that you just left, which you can have. And I said this too, Laura, and many people know this. There's a commercial on TV. It's an insurance commercial, and they were advertising their app, and they said when you're connected, you're protected. And I went, God, I wish I had that. I wish that was mine. And what I mean, guys, is when you're connected, but I don't mean protective against your energy centers, your vessel. It's protected from taking on too much emotions. You are in control, and just love yourself, guys, too. And when I was fearing lack of, I was going to lose my house. Everything. What's that? That's my base chakra. Okay, that's where all worry, not financial, physical, family. That was overreacting. So you got to pay attention to that and say, okay, John, ground. Your energy centers, guys, are your spiritual batteries, and it doesn't mean, doesn't have to be so esoteric. Just do an alignment. Okay, when this is okay, out here is okay. And because I teach, pull in your aura, pull out your aura, open up your heart center. When these are in line, this all happens automatically. You can take it. All right.
Exactly. And if you're not one to be someone who can sit and meditate, do like a moving meditation of some kind, whatever that might be. Like, I know you go for walks a lot with Coda, so that part is probably very meditating for you. And I know some people who do something where you have to be fully present for a few moments, or even a few minutes, 15 minutes. That's why yoga is so beneficial to people, because you have to be fully present, so you know exactly what you're doing in the different yoga positions and things. It keeps you right there, fully in the moment and in your body. Right. So if you're prone to anxiety, it keeps you in your body. I took up rowing several months ago, and it's probably the thing that saved me through all of this, because I don't know anybody, if anybody has ever rowed before or done like crew or whatever, you have to be fully mindful of your form and everything. You have to be fully present in the moment, and that just really made a big difference in my anxiety. So find something that works for you. Some people knit, because they have to like knit one, purl two, whatever that might be. Yeah. So anything that keeps you fully present and focused on a physical movement of some kind, try that. That might help you to ease your anxiety.
And even when you're meditating, I mean, when you're knitting, you start to go off too, though, because it's like you're meditating.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
that's fine, but you're
That's
calm.
true.
A lot of
Right.
people, a lot of adults now, I haven't seen so many people lately, but you know, they got these puzzle books now, these drawings, and you do the coloring, the mandalas. You
Oh,
could,
yes. Yeah,
that's
the
so
coloring books for
cool.
adults.
I
Yeah.
see adults coloring more, and it just brings you to the present, and you can, you know, get it on Amazon. The coloring books for, you know, their mandalas, and you just color it in using colored pencils, and you're thinking, is it that easy? It's mindful. It's bringing you to the present. And I haven't done this in a long time, but journaling helps now, guys. Okay, by journaling what you're going through right now, you're getting it out of your head and you're putting it on paper. All right, anything to get it out. Yeah.
Yeah, it does. It helps to get that out of your head. So a lot of people are saying, painting and I have become my friends.
Yep.
Drawing artwork puts me in the zone. Yep. That's any
Yep.
creative space. Tiffany says she's knitting socks lately.
Okay.
Very good. Excellent. Set a timer and choose something to do, and it can help to focus for short periods of time. Yep. It makes
Yeah.
perfect sense. If you're struggling with focus, especially if, you know, this is really throwing you off, set, you know, 10 minutes. I'm going to sort files for 10 minutes or answer emails for 10 minutes and just allow it to be that.
Yeah. And the reason why more people, everyone said too, you know, in my last book, Bridging Two Realms, I talk about how a lot of people are more sensitive, even before this happened to us. Okay. I just believe that, you know, the consciousness of man is changing. Some people are like, is the veil getting thinner on the other side? Because why am I connected? Because we're more sentient beings now, guys. And technology is doing that. I love technology, or we wouldn't be able to do this. All right. But every once in a while, pull yourself away from technology. Pull away from it, guys, okay? And for the people who say, I don't have time to meditate, you've heard me say this before, if you've seen me do this on Facebook, if you got time to scroll, that 5 minutes, you got time to breathe, all right?
Exactly.
And don't look at your phone the first thing in the morning, guys. Take a breath, be in your body, say that one word that's gonna start off your day. Instead of reaching for your outer technology, reach for your inner technology. Because some people, they're not even out of bed yet, and they're already on Snapchat, Instagram, the news. You just came from that beautiful sleep, all right, where your soul's on the other side, revitalizing, your body's revitalizing, hopefully. And what happens, you throw yourself right into technology, guys. Walk away from it. Have boundaries with yourself, with your relationship with your computer and your phone, saying, you know what? 2 hours before I go to bed, or now I am not looking at the phone or I'm watching the news. That's just my idea. I don't like waking up to the news, and I don't like going to bed to it. I don't want to start my day off with it, and I don't want to end my bed and take all that to bed with me. Yeah.
Exactly. So what would you suggest for people when they do see the news and they see other things happening that they don't have control over? Like I know someone mentioned, oh my gosh, what if people are going hungry because they can't have access to food, and they started going off on that and getting very wrapped up in the worry about it. Like, I mean, we could meditate, but what do you suggest? That wouldn't help.
You mean if we're watching something that we're seeing that's sad?
And we don't feel we feel powerless because it's happening. Do you know what I'm saying?
Own it and say, you know what, I'm, you know, this is, I want to do something, but unless you take care of yourself, you're useless.
Exactly.
All right, you really, really are. All right,
Yeah.
you know, there's things too. Even your local community could use help. Yes. The NHSPCA is closed. You can't drop off food anymore. All right, you have to do it online, or you do an Amazon gift card for them or something. So try to find out locally how you can help people too. And guys, I know you can't save the world, but what you do locally, there's a ripple effect.
Exactly.
Really
yes.
Yeah, a ripple. You help one kind, and I say this all the time, one kind act creates a ripple effect that reaches farther than you ever could imagine. And I get sad when I'm watching the news, when I see, especially when they talk about here, and I don't want this all to be about COVID, all right? When they're saying, we don't know when it's gonna end. That's what's scaring to people. It's like, oh my God, okay? And you're watching this, and I'm like, all right. That's when I get kind of sad. I'm like, all right. Then I have to go back to, might take a little longer, you know, then what we're going through might take a little longer, but I know people keep saying this. We will get through this. And
Right.
basically, guys, take care of yourself, first of all, too. You have to.
Exactly. Exactly. And when I start to feel powerless, I try to do something all the time, or at least, you know, I'll try to do something locally for
Yeah.
people, maybe for a local food bank or something. Then I'll go to something more regional, maybe help a regional organization. And then anytime I could do something globally, I try to reach out and do that. But I always, you know, I think part of it's trusting that there's other people doing the same thing you're doing
Yeah.
to help, you know, and that way I feel like it kind of helps with the anxiety about trying to help everybody. The
Right.
super sensitive people are always trying to help everybody. Right, John?
Yep, yes, 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 yes. But it's remember I said about boundaries too, though.
Yeah.
It's if there are friends that are reaching out, guys,
Yeah.
okay? I remember I said when you're listening to someone, and you know what's really cool when you just listen to someone, you're just listening, you're taking it in. Sometimes you get an answer to something you were going through just by listening to their stuff. You're like, oh my God, in the back of your head, like, oh my God, I'm going through the same thing.
Yeah.
But and then what happens is when you do give advice, all right, you're actually talking to yourself too. You're actually giving yourself advice. But when you have and I don't mean to keep saying boundaries, all right, I don't want to keep
It's
saying that.
important. I think that's one of the things, like, people are super sensitive. That's one of the things they have problems with is boundaries, because they're trying to help everybody.
Right. If you have somebody in your life, now we know we want to help a lot of people, all right, but if you have someone in your life, and it doesn't even have to be about what we're going through, say they're going through they're in a relationship, all right, and I'd love to see this. I'm going to look for hands on here. How many people you are the one that somebody goes to with, or people go to you with all your problems? Show me a thumbs up, guys. Are you the one that everybody goes to when they're show? I'm going to hit that a few times. Yep, there you go. All right, are you the one? Okay, and that's great that you can be there for people, all right, but if you have somebody, remember, you are a soul, you're a spiritual being, you're made up of energy. It's very precious. We give it away, you have to take that chi back in. So when you're giving advice, you're using your energy. If someone keeps calling you with the same problem, you sit there, you give advice, and then a week or two later or the next day it's the same issue, and you're giving advice and they keep going back to doing what they're doing. Realize that all that talking that you have done isn't working for them. You're just, every time you give them that ear to do it, you're enabling them. You are enabling them. And what do I mean by enabling them? You're letting them do it. You have to stop and say, you know what? I've been trying to help you with this, and it doesn't mean you're a bad person. What if it's your kid? What if it's a family member? What if it's your best friend? You have to say, you know what? I've tried to help you. Maybe I'm not the person. Maybe you need a therapist. And if they get upset, then, but remember, this is about you right now. You have to have extreme self-care right now, everyone. Extreme self-care. And by you keep listening and then giving advice, think about how much advice you gave to someone who's in the middle of a breakup, or they're having issues with someone for years or months or weeks, whatever. It's the same issue with the same person. You're giving advice and they still continue to be with that person, or doing a situation or at work. You have to say, you know what? I feel I've done all that I can. I don't know what else to do. Maybe you need to see a therapist. And if they get upset, I'm sorry. Okay. You are being honest. And trust me. All right. Some of them won't go on. They just like to bitch. Okay.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah. And
what
we all
happens
have those
is,
friends.
when you tell them that you can't do this anymore, they'll find somebody else
Oh, yeah.
that'll do it. Yep.
Yeah. 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 And someone said, I don't enable. That's what someone said. Yeah, they commented, I don't enable.
Yep.
Maintaining boundaries can be hard when you know you should. Yeah, it's a practice. You know, it is a practice. And also, sometimes when you set boundaries, it actually is the catalyst for that person to actually change too, you know, when you set those boundaries. So it's not so bad to do that.
Yep.
Let's see. I had to walk away from 2 people because of this. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yes. Okay. Another thing too, you know, to kind of shift gears a little bit, if someone's super sensitive, a lot of times they are super intuitive as well. And so it might be helpful to take a class and learn about your chakra system and your psychic abilities. And I know that, you know, for people I know who've taken classes, psychic development classes, they've said they feel like a whole person now because they were able to embrace their sensitive side, their you know, the less tangible senses, and validate it.
And it doesn't mean it's so esoteric or new age or woo, everyone.
Right.
You are a spiritual being, you're a physical being, you are a vessel. And so by understanding how your sensitivity works with your energy centers, how your aura picks up everything. Someone's walking behind you in line at a store or a grocery store. Not lately, hopefully, okay?
Hopefully not too close.
You can feel people behind you. You have an aura, all right? Once you can learn to control it, open, close it, take care of the vessel, guys. Know how your intuitive abilities work. And it doesn't mean just for people who are lucky to have this ability. We're all born this way. Once you learn how to do it, use them, or understand it, you can be the master of your sensitivity. It does not have to be the master of you.
Exactly. When you have knowledge, you're empowered. Another thing too is that it worked for me anyways, is learn to be empowered within your own body, because then it emanates to your energetic body.
Right.
So I noticed that when a few years back, I started taking some private lessons with a friend of mine who does personal fitness, like private fitness classes. And she taught me how to strengthen my core and everything. And I found through that, and I didn't realize this was going to happen, but through that, I found that I actually could hold my own energy. And I found I could actually own my space, which actually helped with my mediumship and standing up on platform and owning my space. So doing something in the physical way that makes you feel empowered, whether it be Taekwondo or yoga or something, or some kind of resistance work or something that kind of feels so you feel empowered, that will help you regain your energy as well and hold your space.
I've got a couple of female friends, all right? I was going to say guys too. I have guy friends, but there's a couple of female friends every morning. Now that they can't go to the gym right now, they're doing their yoga every morning faithfully. Yeah. And when you're doing yoga, and it doesn't mean just standing on one leg, everyone, okay? It's
tough.
But when you're focused on, downward dog or standing there with the one leg or all these poses, you have to be in your body. And it's only going to help strengthen you also.
And to own your power, and to own your sensitivity and your own aura. And so I found that I can walk into crowded places that might have a lot of energy going on, and I can hold my space energetically. Right. Yeah. I think back to when I was a kid, and some of you may relate to this. I remember going to Fenway Park with my dad, and it's like 30,000 people in Fenway Park, and I remember being a child and being I loved going to the games, but I felt so overwhelmed by all the energy, and I would just huddle down in my seat and just watch the game. And now I can go to concerts and everything, and crowded places like that, and feel totally at ease. And so if you relate to that, try something physical, and it will translate to energy.
Yep. And it's going to be whatever works for you. And I still see a lot of people sending stuff on here too, though.
That's they're all saying hello and sending heart. Thank you for the hearts, everybody. Thanks, Midge. This is great. Do you want to shift gears? I want to ask you some questions that are off topic. All right. Okay. If anybody has questions for John, just send it. Catherine says, I was the same way. Yes. That's what people are. Oh my goodness. Okay. So what are you most grateful for, John?
Oh, right. That I've got a good, I have good friends. Well, first of all, I'm thankful if I wake up. I am. If my foot touches the floor, some people will like, shit, another day. And I'm like, okay, good, I'm here. Let me just see I try to think about what good is going to happen today instead of like that. I'm thankful for my dog who's 13 years old now. I mean, as he's getting older, and I'm watching that, but I'm okay. You know what I mean? And he teaches me, I teach him. Actually, no, I don't. He teaches me, trust me. So I'm thankful for that. I can still breathe. I'm thankful for my dog. I'm thankful that I have a house, but the most thankful for is, it's got to be him, Laura. It is. It's got to be him. All right. My dog. Yeah,
of course.
And you?
What's that?
And you?
Similar things. I'm grateful for having a roof over my head and waking up every morning and having 2 jobs that I absolutely adore, and being healthy. It's always good, and good friends that I can call any day, any time of day.
I think when we're reflecting too much of what we don't have, guys, you got to bring it back and say, okay, what am thankful for? And there are going to be people and say, what the hell do I have to be thankful for? Well,
we all have our moments. You know?
Yes, we do. The sun is up. There's a flower in the garden. Your kid is doing okay. You had a dinner. You know, a nice. There are things to be thankful for. So yes, yeah.
Absolutely. So, which three people have influenced you the most in your life, besides Coda?
See, guys, she didn't. You said people or person, so
Yeah.
not animal.
Yeah.
I didn't know you were going to ask these questions. So
I know, I'm throwing curveballs at you.
No, I didn't want to be. I wanted to keep it raw. Okay. So my mother, all right, who taught me kindness and fearfulness, you know, because she went through a lot. I'm
putting you on the spot. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. I'm thinking because there's so many. There's a Joan Lambert. She was in Wales. When I went over to England to study mediumship, I sat with her. Someone recommended I go to her from one of the churches, and she saw an ability there that could be, you know, developed quite nicely. So she put me in the right place at the right time. And I'm also thankful for, we all have people in our lives, guys, all right? You have to think, you know how they say everything happens for a reason. I like that saying, and I don't like that saying because I don't understand why certain things happen to people. But if it wasn't for this woman, Kathy Copeland, I was living in Boston, and I was her studio manager at a photography studio. We'd see models come in, and one time she said, "Would you like to go to California?" And I didn't even get paid working for her. I worked at a job, and on part-time I worked for her because she was going to teach me photography. I was more fascinated by the models coming in and then the makeup and how they transform these people. One time she said to me, how about would you like to go to California? And I'm like, whoa, I've been to the Caribbean once. That was it. All right. At 21 years old. And she goes, how would you like to go to California? And I said, what are you doing? She said, I'm going to go see the record labels and I'm going to pitch my work and maybe see if I can get some album covers. She said, I'll pay for you. She said, you just help me when we get there. And if it wasn't for her, I never would have went to I went to Santa Barbara with her also. It was a talent agency, said, we'd love to have you. I just walked in there myself and said, would you do it? Because I was interested in modeling and theater. And they said, yeah, when could you come? So by meeting her, she brought me to California, which I met somebody else in Santa Barbara. So that brought me out there. So Kathy Copeland, first of all, my mother, then Kathy Copeland, and who else did I say?
Someone in Scotland or the UK?
Joan Lambert, who put me on the path to be with the right people to study, guys. Yeah. And I trust synchronicity too. Grace is wonderful. Grace, if you follow those synchronistic signs, it's they're going to become more and more. And then when you follow them, not every sign is a synchronistic sign, but when your soul gives you a synchronistic sign and you follow it, it's easier. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I bet a lot of people don't know this, because when you went to California, you were on General Hospital, weren't you?
Oh. Why are you telling these people?
Because it's a great story. You don't have to share it if you don't want to, but it's a great story.
My mom was a maid at Holiday Inn in Massachusetts, in Charlestown. And when I went to California, I was going to study acting. And before I left the hotel I was bartending with, does anybody know anybody in the business of California? Now I have a lot of people at the hotel, and a woman says, my uncle is a cameraman for General Hospital. And she goes, I'll introduce you. So 2 weeks into getting to California, well, once we got settled in LA, we stayed with somebody else. But once I got settled, I made contact with him. I was on General Hospital within 2 weeks. And so I know some of these people are laughing when Frisco and Felicia were on there. And they made me, all I was going to be was the hot dog vendor at a carnival. So they put all the ketchup on me and the mustard, and it was my job to handle them the hot dogs. And so I told my mother, I'm like, Mom, I'm going to be on General Hospital. I'm going to be at General Hospital. Yeah. Not just I was the hot dog vendor, okay? Not just walking by. So she got all excited. She had all her coworkers, the maids, all sitting in one room watching. All right, and I'm sitting there watching too, knowing that my mother's with all her women at the hotel, her some of the staff that she worked with. And what did they show? not me. They showed my hands handing the hot dog. And I was, oh, damn. And I knew it was mine because I had a certain ring on. But yeah, so that was my big claim I was on.
Your big claim to fame.
Yep. And I was also on that show because most people, going back to sensitivity, when you're sensitive about something, guys, or you're a sensitive person anyways, not only are you sensitive, you're creative and you're passionate. Okay? You're passionate, and there's nothing wrong with being about passionate about your friends, your life, your creative work. Also, I was on the show Win, Lose, or Draw.
No way.
I was on
Really?
that, and I won.
Yep, I didn't know that.
I could draw because I could draw as a kid.
Oh.
And Willie Ames from Eight Is Enough was there.
Oh my God, we're really showing our age, aren't we?
the lead from the Kruger movies. The girl, okay, she was on it. Heather something. The guy Paul Ripple from the show. He played a piano player in I can't think. It was a sentence in a scene in a bar. But Willie Ames was my partner, and I could never get what they were drawing. And so the final scene, he says, "Let me draw," and I'm like, "No, I know what I'm doing," and I won. So I was on that too.
I didn't know that. Yeah. I had no idea.
Yeah.
Learn something every day. I've known you for so long. I don't even know.
Nobody knew about General Hospital in my whole career.
I'm so sorry. Okay. No, someone said that's where I knew you from. Someone, I don't know if she was joking or not. I said it was only his hands. It wasn't. You wouldn't recognize.
Right.
Him. Yeah. Okay. So I have another question for you. Who or what has surprised you the most in your life?
Who the most has surprised me in my life?
Cue the Jeopardy music.
Well, one. I'm surprised. I surprised myself, but I see someone.
Or what? Who or what surprised you?
You know who surprised me is, I got to be honest with you, is Simon. It's Simon, and he's my manager. He was my partner. He's a Virgo. He's a number 4. He surprised me, and with his steadfastness, that he's still working with me. That's not a bad thing, everyone. Okay, but he surprised me that he can, to a point though. All right, because he had his breaking moment also. Okay, but he surprises me that each and every day he's just like, and you know how this is, everyone. Most of us, a lot of our people that are around us, they know us. They know us, okay? He surprises me by continue to help me to spread the word of what I do. It's been 20 years, so he must be doing something obviously right. So I gotta be honest, I think it's him. And on a second note, I'm surprised when students come to my class, and we will teach live soon, eventually, guys, okay? Sometime. When I see a student walk in who says, I don't have any ability, and when they walk out and they're surprised, like, oh my God, I knew that they were born in Atlanta. I knew that their father worked in apple fields or apple orchards. They're so overwhelmed. I'm fascinated. I'm surprised at how surprised that my students are. Yeah.
Yeah, that's always. Yeah. I'm sure it's always rewarding to see that happen.
Yeah.
So let me just see what else. Oh, what book or movie has influenced you the most?
Wow. Somebody asked me that once on Gaia television too. I think the movie, there's several, besides Wizard of Oz as a kid, all right? I was fascinated by religious movies when I was a kid. My mom would wake me up at night to watch The Song of Bernadette, The Lady of Fatima, Moses, the 10 Commandments, always me. So they fascinated me. I mean, but an influential one is I get touched all the time. And for people who are sensitive, it's okay to cry. One of the best, there's more than one, Laura, so I'm going to just give you a couple of my all-time favorites, all right? It is the Mr. Holland's Opus.
Oh, I love that movie.
With Richard Dreyfuss. That one just blew me away. The sensitivity, how he just kept giving up what he really wanted to do to take care of his family. And at the end, I don't want to give it away, but watch Mr. Holland's Opus. And here's a musician that wanted to be a conductor, write his own concerto, and he ends up. I will give this away. The wife gets pregnant, so he can't be a musician then, so he has to go to school as a teacher. Then what happens? He has a child that's born deaf. So a musician father who has a deaf son, very touching story. And I try to learn lessons in every movie that there is, but being sensitive, a lot of time I know the ending. So people can't stand that. They're like, shut up, don't tell us what's gonna happen. Yeah. So, there's a few of them too. I mean, Christ, even, when Superman came out with Christopher Reeve, I mean, I was fascinated that, that he could fly. So, but, the sensitive ones, Mr. Holland's Opus, The Wizard of Oz, I might pop out with another one. It's just that, you put me on the spot.
I know. That's okay.
The Color Purple. The Color Purple also touched me also. One. Yeah, there's so many. And the book, yes.
Yes.
I think when I read about Yogananda, Diary of a Yogi, and Yogananda is the gentleman from India who brought yoga here to the States. So the autobiography, oh God, and I could keep going. Anything by Edgar Cayce, a river runs through it. I mean, the river book he has. Anything by Edgar Cayce fascinated me also, or made a big influence on me. Yeah.
Good. Awesome. What's the moment that you laughed like the hardest recently? I know we haven't laughed too much recently, but what can you name? Because we all need to laugh.
Well, I don't know if this is lately, but it did happen for real. And you remember this, Laura, we were doing a gathering at Leaping Lizards, not Leaping Lizards, Moth and Moon in Bedford, New Hampshire.
Okay. Yeah.
And
I know where we're going.
Laura says, do you have your stool? Meaning I sit on the stool and I teach. So I go out to the car, and what did I have in the car? Now I'm telling you all my stuff, everybody. Okay, but eventually we laughed.
We did.
But then I got concerned first. I went up to the car to get this four-legged stool that I sit on. I brought a step ladder. And I'm like, what?
We still joke about it.
And I went, why would I bring a ladder? To climb the higher consciousness or something? What happened was because it's in the garage, I just wasn't thinking. And you think about it, wait a minute, you had to drive, John? I just took it. I just put it in the car. So that was but I was concerned. I'm like, Laura, I'm a little nervous. And I said, I'm a little scared that I did that. But eventually it was a mistake, guys. I was spacey. I had a lot of my...
But it was an amazing demonstration that night. So you were already in the space of that. And you actually, I think, if I remember correctly, there was some correlation between you having a ladder and it was evidence of a message, of part of a message or something. It ended up being part of a message.
Yeah, so, but now granted, I didn't sit on the ladder, guys. No. There was another stool there, but yeah, I laugh at myself sometimes too. It's just really quickly. Guys, sometimes there's a friend of mine, she I don't think is going to watch this. It's not a bad thing. One time she said to me, God, now I'm in New Hampshire, all right? I know the state, but I don't know the state. And she's a snowmobiler, her and her husband. And she said to me, it took us 3 hours to get to Pittsburgh. And I went, it took you 3 hours to get to Pittsburgh? So she starts laughing and she's looking at me like, yeah, you're a loser. And I'm like, what? And she goes, John, New Hampshire. I said, well, that's why I said it took you 3 hours. I just couldn't fathom. I didn't know there's a Pittsburgh, New Hampshire. That's up north, 3 hours away. All right. So the other day, we always joke. I'll be like, Pittsburgh. And I'll say, hey, well, I said, Kim, I told you. God said, John, looks or brains? Can't I have both, God? So, so the other day we're in her yard safely. We're walking the dog and she's having lunch. And she said, I'm going to be busy later. I'm going to put together a raised bed. And I went, oh, is it really? And I said, what, in your bedroom? Is it? And she said, yeah. And I said, oh, like, I'm thinking like raised bed, the kind you see on TV. I'm thinking orthopedic, the kind here. I'm thinking of a bed. And of course her husband chimes in and says, yeah, and she's going to lie in it too. And she said, it's orthopedic too, John. And then I said, wait a minute. This is a Pittsburgh incident, isn't it? And she said, John, I mean raised garden box. But how would I know? I'm not a gardener. She said, I'm going to put together a raised bed. And she likes painting. So we laughed our ass off on that one too. So yeah. Anyways, I'm giving you all my moves.
All your secrets. Which moment in your life would you most like to relive?
Probably the first time I stepped foot in England. That place has a very, very special place for me. Well, when I went there, Simon thought he had pictures of it, pictures of his house, so I wouldn't be nervous. He was nervous, me coming from poverty, going to England, a house on the water. I fit right in. It was like I was coming home. So if I could reenact that and seeing Cornwall for the first time, the cliffs of Travone, if anybody knows that, the cliffs of Travone, I scattered my mother's ashes off the cliff of Travone in Cornwall. So if I could go to visit relive that again, that would be amazing. That would be amazing. Yep.
Get to England again sometime.
Yep. Someone's saying, you're so down to earth, John. I'll always be who I am. I got to watch my mouth sometimes. That's why I'm very approachable. I can't be other than something that I'm not, everyone. And so, the word authentic, all right? And I admit to people, everyone, I'm just a guy. I know a lot of people think that I know all the answers. I don't, everyone. I'm going through what everyone else is going through, but I have enough training to pull myself back now and please have some time to relax and reflect. Guys, I know it's hard for the parents who have kids and the husband's working with you're both there. You got to have 5 minutes, 10 minutes. I don't care if you're in the toilet and you spend an extra 10 minutes in there for yourself. Okay.
And parents do, right? Parents.
What?
And parents do that. That's our safe zone.
Right. I don't have that. Okay. I mean, I don't have kids. All right. But
right.
It's, reflect, relax and reflect, for some downtime. So I'm hoping we gave, a few tips here, maybe one thing that they never thought of, Laura. And, you can take a couple of questions too, Laura, if you want.
Yeah. I was looking. Okay. If anybody has questions, I know we had one from earlier. I'm gonna hit one that I got one from earlier today. But with the knowledge you have now, 20 odd years into this work, what would you do differently?
What, from starting out, you mean, or like?
Yeah, from the very beginning when you first started unfolding as a medium.
Because remember, I came out when mediumship started, was getting big. John Edward was on TV. We had George Anderson. James was coming out. And then I was there. Okay, so I just made the cusp of when everybody was coming out. And then Hay House took me on. And then we started doing the I Can Do It conferences. And then one book, then the next book, the next book, next part. I didn't take time to pat myself on the back to honor all the work that I did. It was always the next project, the next book here. So I wish that coulda, woulda, or shoulda. I wish I would have taken off to go to an island to congratulate myself and the people that helped me write it. So I didn't. I just wish that I took more time for myself and my accomplishment, to own it, to honor myself. Say, yeah, because when you write a book, everyone, you write it. It sits for a year and then it comes out. You're done with that book. And then you have to go back into it while you're working on something else. So you're promoting one, working on one. Yeah. So, so honor myself more, Laura. And I'm trying to do that. And it's a process. I've been doing this for 20 years, but I try to honor myself a little more. Yeah.
Right.
Each and every. Yeah.
I remember when Bridging Two Realms came out and the day that it was released, and you were right back at it the next day. You didn't give yourself just to step back and like.
No, and with everyone too, you're going through this also, everyone. Some of you, now I do it, I kept saying, I've been traveling for 17, 18 years, all right? Traveling, playing hotels, people, which is great. It's what I do. I chose to serve, and I'm not bitching about that. As time gets on, as time going on, I said, I want to do more in my own area. I want to spend more time home and be with my dog as he gets older. And people are like, well, you asked for it, you got it. And I'm like, well, not this way.
Not like this.
Okay, right. Not this way. But I had to change my whole way of working because we had events all lined up, and I know people are saying they're so bummed out that we can't do them, but it's for your safety, and depending on what state you're in also. And I'm not going to teach with mask and have it's too much. Right. The classes that I teach, guys, they're intimate. There's touching, there's holding each other's items, it's intimate. So it has to be. We can do it online, and which we're going to continue to do. I understand that. But I had to switch everything, every event that I did that was lined up for the people that got tickets, go through and it was stressful. See what else are we going to do with that? So I was like this. So now, since March, now that it's July, there's a couple more to do. And what happens too now? Have a new product coming out, the Mediumship Training Deck. And some of you might see My Soul Community. I'm finally going to have my community online, where I'll be teaching and live for the year too. So that's on my website. I mean, that's on Facebook also. So it's, I had to learn a new way of being, a new way. It's, some of us are bitching about it. I don't want to do this. I don't know how I'm doing this. It still has to be done, right? So I had to say, John, pull up your big boy pants and just get on with it. But take time for me, everyone. And even though we're launching the deck in August, the end of August, and the membership site, mysoulcommunity.com, not a good time to go on vacation, but I'm going. I have a week up in Maine, and damn it, I'm going. And I said to Simon, and you know this too, I'm not working. It's too easy to answer an email. I am not working. For my own sanity, for my own health, I need some downtime. And when you have downtime, guys, or if you're meditating those 5 minutes, you're pulling yourself out of your life, and you're looking at your life instead of being in it. So meditation and just breathing, it gives you a chance to step back from your life. And if you're saying this, I can't keep doing this, what's wrong with me? Why does this keep happening to me? That's your soul's way of saying, hey, pal, when's the last time you checked in with me? Your soul wants to help you, everyone. But remember, when you're saying that, say, when's the last time I did a soul checking? SOUL. It just means to check in with yourself. I see a lot of thumbs going up, so yeah.
Yep, absolutely. So someone had a question about mediumship. I think it was Deborah earlier, and I'm paraphrasing what she asked, but she wanted to know, how do you figure out a turn-on switch and a turn-off switch for mediumship?
It happens. Whatever you like. I mean, that's one of our cards, turn-on switch. Mine is turn-on switch for me, and it doesn't mean, boom, there's my ability. You already have it. When I do a turn-on switch, mine is getting on my knee, even if I'm doing them at home, and I say the Our Father, because I was raised Catholic. That's my way of saying, I got to put all everything about me aside, because people are waiting for my help. And if I'm too emotional, if something happens, like yesterday, I was going to do Helping Parents Heal. Well, the lights were flickering, there was thunder or lightning, the power was going on and off. I had to make the decision right then and there and say, you know what? I can't do it. We have to just reschedule. Where was I going with that, Laura? I'm sorry, I got a little lost.
Your turn-on switch.
Turn-on switch. So I let the spirit world know, I'm here for you, I'm ready. So it doesn't it's my choice. Some people meditate before they do mediumship. Other people take a walk. Some people listen to music. I knew a woman in England. She used to listen to the theme from the song from Sister Act. That got her in it. That was her turn-on switch. There's another medium who would just read, because she would open up before she went on by reading, because she didn't want to be all over here. So whatever works for you, whatever's going to make you feel calm, present, and anything that's going to put your stuff, because you're not good if you're going through, you're not good for somebody else, guys, if you're going through an emotional time or a traumatic time. You're not a good vessel for that person. You're not being
Yeah, you want to be connected to spirit all the time. And I know that I've had students who've left development classes that I've run, that they come back and that person's father was with me all night after I left Circle, and I said, well, that should not be happening. That shouldn't be. So I will ask them often. Most of the time when I do ask them, I know exactly what they're going to answer. I'll ask them, were you thinking about that reading as you were driving home, and when you got home, and when you're going to sleep? Yep, I was. Well, that's exactly what happened. So turn your attention to something else. That's the best thing to do.
Yeah, I mean, because when you are in control of your abilities, it is not in control of, you should be in control of your ability, your sensitivity. It should not be in control of you. And you have to remember, guys, sensitivity, it's natural. All right. And basically, it's almost like, I got it down right here. It's like a sensitive microphone that picks up subtle sounds. All right. You're picking things up through, you're gathering information through your nervous system. And with everything that's going on, of course, our emotions are like this. You've got to calm down, guys, and at least breathe, or a meditation. And it doesn't mean, oh, mani pa mi home, I'm doing this for half an hour. It just, Because what will happen is by you meditating, your blood pressure calms down, your body calms down, your heart rate goes down. You remember, you're gathering information through the nervous system naturally. So just please be aware of not letting your emotions run amok, and be careful with the news, and your boundaries, everyone, who you let around you, and know your own boundaries. Like, okay, I'm not going to do this. I'm going to do that. And it's easy, guys, to do it for a day, and then you're going to fall away. You're going to do it for a day, and it's going to fall away. As long as you keep coming back to it. And damn it, if Laura is here on Spiritual Cafe, has these wonderful guests. And I'll tell everybody, if people are new to Laura or to Spiritual Cafe, go to her website, Laura Wooster, Wooster. Get on her email list. She has some wonderful guests for free, everyone. And she's had astrologers, she's had doctors, therapists, mediums, such helpful advice. The Spiritual Cafe, and not only is Laura, my assistant, like she said before, she's a wonderful intuitive and a medium. I've sent many people to Laura. Not one person in all this time has ever come back and said anything negative. It's except thank you. All right, because she's wonderful, especially at the intuitive stuff too, though. I mean, granted, damn good medium, but sometimes it's okay to reach out to somebody else, guys, not just an intuitive or medium. Sometimes a therapist is not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. And realize one more thing. We're all grieving right now, guys. You're like, why am I so sad? You're grieving a life that we don't have right now. You're grieving your friends. You're grieving that physical touch. You're grieving how things used to be, and and with that comes sadness. You're going through a bereavement. And please go to David Kessler, okay? Grief.com. He worked with Elizabeth Kubler-Ross. He's a bereavement expert. It doesn't matter if you lost someone, if we're still grieving a life that was, all right? And I know things are changing. They said it's going to be the new things here, but it's okay to honor saying, you know what? Express what you're feeling, but go to his site too, guys, because he's got some wonderful videos and wonderful advice. Whether you're grieving a loved one or you're going through something right now, and realize you are grieving, okay? But if it's taken over too much, guys, it might be time to see someone or to talk to someone, or let someone let you talk, just so you can get it out. And when we talk, sometimes we figure out our own stuff too. The person who is listening figures out different things, and sometimes I just need to hear myself and say, oh my God, I just gave myself the answer. So yeah. But thank you, Laura, for having me. I mean, it's about time.
Yeah, you wouldn't let me forget that if I didn't. Well, it's an honor, John, of course, always. It's an honor to work for you. It's an honor to talk with you tonight. And it's an honor to be your friend as well.
Yep, and you're still here. And
when Laura
worked for me, I said, I thought I was going to do a virtual assistant. So for 2 years, I said, I don't know if I'm keeping you. And she didn't even take to heart. She didn't even take that to, right? Yeah, okay, 4 years later.
5
Laura,
years.
Do you have another guest coming up for Spiritual Cafe planned?
I'm going to have Joe Shield on, but you haven't set a date yet. So.
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah.
And guys, we got a lot of stuff too coming online, because it has to be right now. And all I ask is stay safe, guys. And just, there's political views here. All I know is I want to stay safe, and to help keep people safe. And I don't want to get into it with someone who has a mask, who's not wearing a mask. You do what you have to do. And I know I prefer to wear one, and to be careful of, I don't take sides. We're all taking sides right now, and everything is so divided, right? Yeah. But we're all a soul. We just have different coverings right now too. So the next time you feel like you're going to snap at somebody, guys, too, let me leave them with this, Laura. The next time you feel like you're going to snap at someone, just stop. S-T-O-P. S-T-O-P. What does that mean? And it could be somebody outside. It could be a loved one. It could be your kids. Stop. S, stop. T, take a breath. O, observe what's happening to your body and breath. P, proceed with love and kindness. So stop. T, take a breath. O, observe. P, proceed with kindness. And I use that too, because if somebody at Dunkin' Donuts or Dunkin's now, when they didn't get my iced coffee right, why am I going to lose it with the person who made it? You know what I mean? It's like, Okay, John, swear, it's the little things that you know are going to piss you off. All right. So I go, yeah. So what do? I bought my own iced coffee in a jar. All right, everyone. So anyway, thank you, Laura, so much. And guys, I hope that maybe one thing from this, lovely time with Laura, you got some, but please check out her site. Check out my, the site. You'll see the My Soul community opening soon. But we're just taking interest now. If you feel, watch the video, guys, where I explain some of it, if you want. And it's a way of me, after all this traveling, what happened really quickly is people kept saying, when are you doing your next webinar? And I said, why don't I just do a year one? I mean, different ones for every single month. And then I added on to it. There's a live event, there's readings, there's special guests. Wait till you see the guests who I have coming up. All right, so you see that. And if any interest, guys, it's right there on my site. And please go to Laura's site, get on her email newsletter, because she's doing a lot of stuff online with some wonderful people. And the Spiritual Cafe, it's something to look forward to. It's always going to be helpful. These interviews that she does on the Spiritual Cafe. So she used to do them in person, and she will again. But right now, you get to be part of this also. So, Laura, thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. Thank you. It's an honor as always. Thanks everybody for watching. Hope this is helpful. Have a great night, and I'll see you next time.
And if you feel, guys, that this is going to help someone, this talk, share it with someone. Or send it, say, here, maybe you heard one thing and said, God, so-and-so really could use that. Then share it, guys, because you're sharing, and, be kind, everyone, guys, because what else is there? Yeah. All right. Exactly. Love you, Laura. Thank you.
Love you too, John. Have a great night, everybody. Take care.